Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Cory Roberson, who's the founder and CEO with Fin Compliance. Cory, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me, Mike, and I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. And I will tell you that I do a tremendous amount of work with financial professionals, and that C word that rhymes with compliance is red flag. So I'm excited to talk to you because I think that you've got some great ways to streamline and clarify. So I want to learn what you do and how you do it. But get us started first with what's your story, what's your background, and how did you get into the financial services industry?
Yeah, and of course, it's a challenge with any business owner when they're dealing with structuring their business. So, long story short, I started in the year 2000. So I worked for a small financial planner when I was in college, actually. And so, I did everything from, filing paperwork, doing operations, even making trades on behalf of clients. And during that time, it was kind of a jack of all trades type of role. Grew up doing that in that space. And then when I graduated college, I was like, well, this is a great background. And let me figure out to see if this makes sense to continue further. So what I did is I worked about 2 years after college in that same position. And then some friends called me up on the phone and was like, do you want to move out to LA? So I moved out to LA, had a great time. And then I worked for about 2 other firms, specifically in compliance at the time. And really during that time, it was kind of a period of self-discovery, figuring out, do I want to stay in the industry? Do I want to continue? Do I want to grow? There was opportunities to travel. So what I did is in 2008, as actually the timing was right before the financial crash, I ended up leaving the industry and then I went traveling. So the first place I went to Africa. So I went traveling in several countries in Africa for about 8 weeks. Camping trip safari, first landed in Cape Town, South Africa. And then I came back and did a teaching English project in China. One of the things is when I was working in the industry is I didn't want to be defined as just doing one thing, or not being able to explore other creative pursuits. And so I spent time outside of the industry working with kids. And then I did several volunteer projects and to that regard. And then about 2010, 2011, I got into this period of like, well, I need to figure out what I want to do as far as financially. Figuring out how to make money, how to have a stable career, have a stable life. And like a lot of people, they're trying to figure out what makes them tick.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out their sweet spot, their passion, something that they can go 110%. And so really, I got to that point of like saying, okay, how can you take all of these experiences together? Work in the investment industry, all the experience you did there, traveling, working with kids. How can you figure out a way to put all those things together in an impactful way? And so what I did is, I came back to the Bay Area after leaving LA, needed to make money. After all, we live in a world where you have to make money. So it was a challenge, really, starting over again. It was almost like, okay, well, I need to get a job. I've run out of money. And it was one of those things where, okay, you have a lot of credit card debt rolling on. You need to figure something out very quickly. And I was thankful at the time that my parents helped me out because, that was a great, I'm just so thankful for that, and then gave me time to figure it out. So what I did is I went into a coffee shop and I started working on ideas. I started, 7 days a week, I was writing notes in my notepad, trying to figure out how to make everything fit. And it didn't immediately fit, my background in the investment industry, also combined with my passion for creative mission-based pursuits, whether it's traveling, work with kids, serving. and then putting all those things together. And so what I did is, while applying for jobs, because you still need to make money after all, and then none of the job opportunities were working out. So I was like, well, I need to figure out something. So that was kind of the beginning of my entrepreneurial pursuit, is that no other no other job opportunities at the time were really working out. And then the last company that was thinking about hiring me, they decided to go with a consulting firm. So at the time I was like, well, Cory, why don't you set up a consulting firm?
Yeah.
Why don't you do that? Like, yeah, set that up. You have certain subject matter expertise. Why don't you compile that into a series of services, at the time? So I started that. I spent about $500 on my first website while I was working at an after school program, just to make a little bit of money. So pretty much everything I invested at the time in the after school program went into either paying some bills or into the business. Like this was probably the end of November of 2011. And I didn't get my first client until February of 2012. So during that, couple month period of working in an after school program, wasn't making much, until getting my first client was a struggle. And so it was that period of, really, it was humbling. It was that period of like, well, if this works, great. If it doesn't, you'll just have to figure something out. And, you have to just do what you have to do. And so I was thankful to get my first client. From there, that client, I did a good job with them. And they actually are still my client to this day, after 13 years now. And so I still have my first client, which is crazy in this, day and age of, people work with other people and such. And so what I did during that time, he referred me to another business. And then I really refined my products and services at that time. Got a mentor. One of his advice at the time, he told me, what is the quickest path to money? And so that was something that resonated with me at the time. It's like, okay, what is something that you can sell that is someone's going to give you a check right away? And then grow it, develop it out. And so that's really what I did at that time. And during that time, when I was still writing notes in my notepad, I still had this creative, I still had this passion for doing things creatively as well. I didn't want to be just defined in the compliance space. So I wanted to do other things as well. And so I went traveling. So I found out ways to do mission work, volunteer work. So I had a chance to go to conferences and do volunteer programs in, let's say I went to Greece, went to Vietnam, went to Dubai, went to South Africa, went to Peru, got a chance to go to Thailand, teaching English there. I went to South Korea twice and taught English there while working half the time as well. So there was always this balance of the professional and creative pursuits. And of course, at the time I was single, so single with no kids. So it was a time where I had the most flexibility. And when you have the most time, you have to use it, it's like, use that time.
Make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, exactly. So while I spent time doing all that, I put a book together. Because one of the things is I wanted, and the book is called From Student to Entrepreneur, Making the Transition to Business. And that book came out about traveling and journaling. And one of the problems is, when I journaled, I lost a lot of the notes because I didn't put them down I didn't back them up in my cloud storage. So I lost a lot of the perspective and the journaling notes that I wrote at the time when I first went to Africa and to China. And so I told myself, is like, okay, how can you redeem that you weren't disciplined enough to write those things down and save them and store them? What is something that you can do? You can build up your discipline and, so that you can get to the next level. And so I put a book together. So I was like, well, I'm not going to waste any other experiences that I had at the time. So especially when I spent so much time writing notes and compiling things together. So I put a book together, and as a way of telling myself that you can do it. You can be disciplined enough and focused enough to do something that you wanted to do. The original goal was to, when I was traveling and journaling, was to put that together in some kind of travel journal. Well, I missed that opportunity, but I did end up writing a book as well. And it's actually still
Yeah,
featured on Amazon. And that's several years over compiling the discipline, which helped me in the business world. And
I
so,
love it.
yeah, so really compiling all those experiences together into 2023, you know, and
And coming full circle now in 2023 here, you've built your company, you've got clients, you've got some problems you solve for your clients. Give us the elevator pitch. What is it that you do for your clients regarding compliance, and
Mhm.
how does that serve them?
Yeah, so we really branched off into the tech space as well. So that's another story in of itself too, if we have time. But we provide compliance and training systems for investment advisors, consulting firms, and other financial vendors in the space. So really, what that means is that we'll create everything we'll help you with the consulting solution all the way to the software and technology side of maintaining your RAA or your financial service-based business.
And if you try to figure that out on your own or launch it a division of your company on your own, I'm certain that it's a list about 3 miles long and you just be pulling your hair out. So having that outsourced partner like what you can provide would be extremely beneficial.
Exactly. And we do both. So we are consultants first. So we will actually talk to you on a telephone. We will meet with you in a Zoom. We're not going to just give you some AI software automation tool
Mhm.
and then tell you to leave us alone. So we'll actually talk to you over the phone. And then we also have engaged in the software side as well, because we just realized that's where things are going to.
Sure.
And how I got into the software space is I actually went to compete in a edutech conference, startup weekend in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I got a chance to do that I think it was the end of 2015. And that was from wanting to challenge myself to embrace technology and to embrace the tech
Mm.
world. And so, everything that I was doing was something to challenge myself. Like, I may have told myself at a certain time, this is not for you to do, or this is something that you can't do. No, get in there and try it and see if it works for you. Some things worked,
Yeah.
some things didn't.
Of course, it's like success begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's that old saying. It's like, if you just do everything that you feel comfortable doing, you're not stretching yourself. You're not striving. And boy, you are the world traveler and the trier of new things. And then when you find something that you can dig your heels into, then you just make it work. So, talk a little bit about some of your projects, from your partner program to your impact projects.
Yeah, so I realized everything when you create the concept, it's bigger than just you. And so really when you're thinking about scaling or automating your business in certain ways, invite people to join. So we have our partner program where we are reaching out to other compliance consultants. If they have their own book of business, if they have their own consulting firm, partner with us. It's a win-win game. If you are looking for a software solution, we can build or white label a solution for you. And if you are looking for other subject matter experts, we have a network, which we called it Finlancer. So we have a network of other subject matter experts in CRM, marketing, um, let's see, IT, cybersecurity. I think we have someone who helps us with general IT work as well. And so, we're just looking at different opportunities to collaborate with other consultants out there, to where everyone can win, everyone has their own book of business, but then they can work in our ecosystem that we've created as well.
Yeah, I love it. Because I think when you come at things from the perspective of there's plenty out there for the whole world in your world, your sector, there's plenty to go around. Let's not be, restrictive. Let's help each other out. It tends to have that abundance mindset, and, people really are attracted to that and resonate with that because they see that you're not just trying to fight and claw and scratch and keep what's yours.
Exactly. It doesn't work. You can, the market is big enough to where you can have your business, but then you could collaborate with other people and everyone still wins and grows their business. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, it's been just really neat hearing your story and your world travels and the way that you serve your clients, Cory. If someone is interested in learning more and also reaching out and connecting with you, what's the best way that they can do that?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. If you find me, you can look up my profile on LinkedIn, or you can send a message through our website, which is fincompliance, one word, .io. You can reach out to me, and I'm fairly responsive. So unless I'm swamped with something, I'll try to respond back. And yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, Cory, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Oh, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate your time as well.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.